It's 7:40. Let's do this. Good evening, Hampton Roads. Good evening, Northeast North Carolina. My name is David Aldrich, Chief Meteorologist of WTKR News 3 Television, and you are watching First Warning Live, where we focus on all things weather, but because we get hungry from time to time, we're sponsored by Marco's Pizza. And speaking of pizza, we're going to be giving away free pizza tomorrow, and we've got half off this week. We'll talk more about that momentarily. But I got to get to what's pressing. And there's always something in the weather world that's pressing, and really is, here we go again. Oh no, I heard it today in the office by the water cooler. Flakes and rumors of flakes this weekend. Oh my. Really? Flakes? Or maybe it's just a rumor of a flake? Oh, separating the hype and the noise with more of what to expect. That's why you come here, right? I'm an umpire, right? I'm at the baseball game. I'm gonna call it like balls and strikes. I'm not gonna mince words. I'll even show you some pictures. Let me show you what's happening. This is a low that's coming off the coast of Florida. Let me fast forward to Saturday afternoon. So this low, whether it moves 50 to 100 miles this way, 50 to 100 miles this way, could determine whether you get something or not. And we've already heard from our good friend, I guess he's a good friend because I haven't heard. This is a new comment. This is from Mike Hicks. This was left 24 hours ago. No snow for us. I don't believe it. I don't believe you. Okay, I'm with you there. I'm not so sure. It's still 4 days out. He says 100% never. Well, I don't know about never. I mean, it snowed here on February 19th of last year, so I wouldn't, I'd cut the word out 100%. Maybe in this case, 70%. It's a never because I think it's going to have some issues. Like all of us, right? We all have issues, right? We're talking about a mix. A mix! Come on now! You mean it's not going to be a perfect snow? Of course not. Not even based on this track. Because by 7 o'clock Sunday morning, it's off the coast of Savannah, Georgia, and then it just oozes in. Ooh, it shows pink. Do my eyes deceive me? Does that look like pink? That's freezing rain and sleet. Boo! That's a little bit of snow, maybe around Norfolk, Virginia Beach, but primarily it looks like a mix. And when you get a mix, you know what that means? That means you're probably not going to need the shovel. Oh, you mean I'm just going to see it? Yes, remember yesterday we covered this? Well, this is all territory we've already covered. Am I going to get some snow or am I going to see some snow? Well, in this case, you might get, yes, a little bit, but I mean, not enough to shovel. Not when it's mixing in. And so you can see this a little closer up. I decided to show you, this is 9 o'clock Sunday night, and then by 11 o'clock Sunday night, it's pretty much winding down as rain, mind you. So that's going to wash away down the sewer drain, whatever might have fallen on the grassy surfaces. But we can look at it at a closer view. Tell me where you see the white, tell me where you see the pink, and where do you see the green? It's kind of dynamic, right? It's constantly changing, right? So if the profile of the temperature profile throughout the column of air is ever changing, that means you're not going to get one precipitation type. We call it a P-type in weather. Isn't that weird? P-type? Yeah, I like that. It's kind of catchy. Yeah, P-type is going to be fluid. It looks like it changes at 4:30 again. So that could be sleet, then it could go to freezing rain, back to sleet, back to ice, back to snowflakes, and the ending is raindrops. That's kind of messy. I would say that's a good reason to maybe be inside watching football. But types of precipitation we had today, we had some rain. We did get some rain. We'll talk about that too. We also have on the table freezing rain and sleet, depending on how warm the layer in the middle, right? This is a more shallow layer, so you get icy pellets because it refreezes, and it dings on your windshield. The sleet, not pretty. Freezing rain, even worse because it freezes on contact. But if you had just a snow event, then some would be really, really happy. But we've already heard from Mike Hicks, and he's convinced, no snow for us. I don't believe it. That's fine. That's fine. I'm here to tell you, as I'm going to separate for you, all the hype and hubbubaloo and what I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get a mix. I think some of us are going to be maybe surprised that it happened, but you're really at the end going to go, I can get to work, no problem. It's not an issue. I don't think that's the issue, but we'll look at this all the same. By the way, this morning, 40 degrees in Norfolk. That was our starting point, 42 in Hampton. We hit 40 degrees at 3:30, 3:30, I believe, 1 this morning was the actual timing on this, 42 in Suffolk, but we did hit 58 They had us initially listed at 57. I think the almanac came out pretty late this afternoon. It was like 5:44, but they moved us up to 58, not only for Norfolk, but Virginia Beach. I was expecting 60. I know what some of you are thinking, 60? It was only 58. How do you sleep at night? I sleep fine. I sleep fine because there's a lot of variability in this part of the country and throughout the United States. And sometimes these temperatures, even though we had wind, was a bit muted because of the rain showers that came into play. So if I were to rewind this tape, because it's helpful. Some of you might have had to drive through some rain this afternoon. Let me see if I can pull this back in here. And what you can see is I'm going to drop down the timeline here. Let's go back the last 12 hours. So really from about early afternoon, it looked like this. I mean, it came down pretty hard. It shows up around Elizabeth City right into the early afternoon. So the time frame here would represent about 2, 3, 4. So 2, 3, 4 o'clock, it really rolled over places like Pasquotank County, Elizabeth City, and other areas in North Carolina. And you might be asking yourself, was there any thunder? I didn't see it. I didn't hear any thunder, no signs of thunder, but we did get some measurable rain, less than 1/10 of an inch. Emphasis on less than 1/10 of an inch. 600ths to be precise for Elizabeth City, 300ths of an inch fell in Virginia Beach, and only a drop or two in Manio and Portsmouth with 0.01 inches totally. Chesapeake finished at 400ths of an inch, Edenton the match, and Windsor. Bertie County had 0.06 inches of rain today. If you're on the call, this would be a great time to share with me your expectations. Have you been hyped up about a storm that hadn't happened yet? Do you know we did this like last week? We did. 6 days ago, we had a 7 to 10 inch snowfall expected on the GFS model, and everybody bit into it. And now that we're going into tonight, tomorrow, there's no such thing. It's nothing. It's just not even there. So I think some people feel like they've been duped. No wonder Mike Hicks says no snow for us. I don't believe it 100% never, because he might be buying into the clickbait, which I am encouraging you not to do. I'm not going to hype up something that I don't see happening. And even this event, quote unquote, that may or may not happen or manifest itself on Sunday, I think is going to be probably more of a mix and more of a nuisance than anything else. I did get a note here. Let me fly in back in here. I see Earl. Let's see here. Earl Batts says, I actually want to see Surrey, Virginia. Okay, Earl, I'll try to put that on the temperature map here momentarily. I'll make sure I mention that. Earl, thank you for your note. Let's see here. Earl says, I need a good drive of place never seen, only heard of on Weathers. A good place, a drive place. Okay, well, I'll see if I can revisit that when that makes a little more sense to me in the context of some of these questions and comments, because they're coming in sometimes at a speed that I can't keep up with. Ashley is on here. Ashley is commenting about superintendents. Is it too early to talk about that? Well, you never know. I am not the school decision maker. You probably know that. But the superintendent looks parents up for advocacy. We'll see what happens. Maybe there's also comments in here that have nothing to do with weather. You might want to place that comment in another post. But I am here to focus on weather. You know what I'm also here to focus on? Pizza. Do you know you can get half off your pizza from Marco's? I know it's unusual. I mean, I get excited on Cyber Monday when I can get free shipping. But if I can get half off my pizza for just watching this live stream, that's a bonus. Use the promo code WTKR, those are our TV call letters, mind you, and the number 50, and suddenly, magically, presto chango, your bill gets cut in half. You get the whole pizza for half the price. I'd say that's a pretty sweet deal. There are only 6 locations that will do that for you. 3 in Virginia Beach, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk, and tomorrow, which is Thursday, we're going to announce the winner. Somebody's getting 100% off free pizza, right? We heard from Mike Hicks. He said 100% never. I'm going to tell you that we're going to get 100% yes free pizza for somebody, because they're going to get this certificate that we call the Pizza for a Year certificate. You get 1 large pizza with 1 topping every month for a year, and it works like a punch card. So if you happen to get your name randomly selected, we will send you this certificate in the mail through the post office, and you'll get 1 for every month this year. I'd say that's a pretty sweet deal. Think about all the money that would save you. And Marco's Pizza is delicious. Have you had a Pozzoli yet? Because they're on sale, 50% off tonight. Magnifico, the pepperoni Magnifico is the old style World Cup pepperoni. Check that out. Plus, there's so many things on their menu that you may not even know they have, which would include pizza bowls, subs, Bread, I'm talking about cheesy bread. They got wings, salads, Greek salads, desserts, cinnabons, subs. Did I mention subs? They got cool subs too. There's all sorts of great things. You might want a steak and cheese sub. That's half off tonight. You can also use that through the week as well. Meatball subs, and they have these cool desserts. They're called the Cinna Squares. I've yet to try the chocolate ones. I hope to do that soon. But they're also on the menu. All you have to do is use the promo code WTKR50. Back to the weather. I mentioned the rainfall. Let's show you the futurecast, because tonight there was a lot of expectation. Mind you that there was supposed to be, what was it, snow coming down here in the wee hours of the night. Now it's like focused up here. It's practically northern Accomack County, maybe Chincoteague, but maybe not. Doesn't even look like it's showing up to Exmoor. I mean, that's pretty sad, because this was the same event that 6 days ago, the same people that got all excited that the GFS model was spitting out, and it was. 7 to 10 future flakes, mind you, 7 to 10 inches for the 757, and 18 inches for Manio. I couldn't believe it. 18 inches. It put a bullseye over Roanoke Island. And this was last Friday, the day before we got to a record high again, because as you know, we hit 75 last Saturday. So I only point this out because these models have bad physics, and so they lend themselves to great clickbait. And it's usually that GFS model, which is an American model. It has some problems. And until they address it and remedy it, there are going to be people in the weather community, probably more amateurs than professionals, they're going to put it out there and make you think that we're getting either 7 inches in Richmond or we're getting no inches in Richmond. That kind of stuff. I'm not for that. I can show you the data, but I don't think it's a big deal. I just don't. I know we're 4 days away. Last Friday we were 6 days away from tonight. And that turned out to be a nothing burger because it disappeared 6 hours later. So to go from 7 to 10 inches on a model run, follow up with another model run 6 hours later, and it was all completely disappeared, it'll pull the rug out from under you. So don't buy into this stuff. Usually you got to be within 2 or 3 days of an event, and we're still 4 days out. But I can point out to you, as you look up towards, say, Exmoor, there's a little bit of rain that might change to what? Maybe a snowflake tonight. This is 4 a.m. Maybe does it change over? Ah, there's a changeover. I see pink. Yeah, that's it. You mean that's it? Yeah, that's the 7 to 10 inch snowfall the GFS saw a week ago. That's pretty lame, Aldrich. Yes, it's pretty lame. It's even more lame that people would spread that all over the web. People think, hey, there's a rumor. I heard we're getting this. Well, I heard we're getting that. Well, it's disappointing because now you're not getting much of anything because it did change the snow on this model, but it's all done by about 7 a.m. And yesterday on this live stream, I said the window to watch was 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Thursday. And last I checked, that's tomorrow. So Thursday, tomorrow, TH here, and this takes you through 6 a.m. So it's really location. It's confined toward the eastern shore, and right now it looks like it's in northern Accomack County. Maybe it makes it to Northampton, but even in this model run, it shows up. It's just too little moisture, a little too late, right? And then the clouds do what tomorrow? They move out. By 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, we're much colder, but I can tell you the sun is at least out. So you're going to get a bright sun finish late morning and into the afternoon. Weather headlines, it is now 7:52. More clouds tonight, some leftover raindrops, no big deal. Few flakes late, mainly for Accomack County. Eastern Shore. Clouds of sunshine tomorrow, and the midnight high should be in the mid-40s, but most of the day spent in the 30s with wind chills in the 20s. Can you say that again? Tomorrow, hope you have a warm jacket. Make sure the kids at the bus stop are dressed warmly because we will spend most of the day in the 30s with clouds of sun and the wind chills in the 20s. That's pretty tough. Tough to take, especially since we got another cold winter day on Friday. Highs only in the lower 40s if we're lucky. Now, if you need more evidence, look at this. This is our current temperature forecast. I said about 45 and down arrow. I kept showing that, but some people say to me, well, that's not very useful because I don't really start my day till sunrise. And the sunrise tomorrow will take place at 7:17 again tomorrow here in Norfolk. But this represents midnight. This would be your high temperature. What does that mean? It's not the high temperature for me. It is if you work the third shift, right? Because we keep a 24-hour maximum from midnight to midnight. And because of the passage of this cold front, it's going to be colder. So by tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., it'll be in the 30s. And by the time we hit noon, it's still in the 30s. And even by the afternoon, still in the 30s. But it gets even worse. I have noted at the top of this screen, so everybody's clear, the almanac tomorrow night will say probably near 45. Whatever we are at midnight tonight, or at least 1 a.m. will be the likely high for tomorrow. But I think 37, 39, 39, it's that blustery wind that's moving 10 to 25 out of the west-northwest, gusting to 30. That's going to cut through you. So the cold sunshine, grab the sunglasses, make sure your family members are dressed for 23. What? 23 is the wind chill. Oh, the wind chill. I didn't think about that. I got to pump gas tomorrow morning because I'm on E. Okay, well, if you're going to pump gas tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, you're going to feel that cold. It's going to be in the 20s. That's cold stuff. And by midday, it feels like it's 29. And by the end of the day, it probably feels like it's the low 30s. So if you need some evidence that it's going to be very, very different tomorrow, I'm here to tell you it's going to be very different. Now, if we transition a little bit back to the rainfall potential going into the weekend. I left a 20% chance of rain on Saturday. I know a big Saturday events. We have the inauguration, the first female ever to be governor of Virginia. A lot of festivities going on. We have this thing called, what is it called? Saved by the 90s at the Norva. If you like Backstreet Boys, some people in Tennessee go, oh, I've heard of the Backstreet Boys. They've got a big concert going on. You've got the Wheeling Nailers playing our Norfolk Admirals at the Scope. So if you like minor league hockey, you got that. You got the MarsCon. You've heard of Comic-Con. This is MarsCon. I don't know if they want to go to Mars. I'd have to ask them. But that convention's at the Holiday Inn in Norfolk, or actually in Virginia Beach for that. And Martin Lawrence is at Virginia Beach at the Dome. So if you like comedy, he's going to be there. So much stuff going on. But I do see some spots of rain on Saturday. It's the fact that we could see, depending on the movement of that southern low, the southern slider, could drop anywhere from a quarter to a half inch based on the latest guidance from the model. But even the snowfall potential with this sleet element, right? The GFS was spitting out a quarter inch of icy pellets, aka sleet. It was first rain, then it changes to sleet, then it changes over to snow. And even that, I think, is pie in the sky because it's all going to be depending on timing and track and temperature, the 3 T's. And that can change over the next 4 days. Now, the European model, to be fair, might be actually showing you what could fall from the sky, which I think is overinflated. But when you throw in some rain, throw in some sleet, throw in some freezing rain, it's not going to be a half inch that you get to shovel. I just don't think it. I think it's more of a nuisance. I think it's like I had to wipe it off the hood of my car, and it was on a Sunday, and I was too busy watching football, whatever, right? So you've got some opportunities on Sunday if you're really hoping, and I said that winter would be front-end loaded, and it would likely be most of it before the 19th of January, which was when? Dr. King Day. Once we hit Monday, Dr. King Day, I said winter would probably pull back a bit. Not necessarily always snow would pull back a bit. We'll still get some cold air, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be as aggressive as the way it started. Now, this is the GFS. This is for the third time now. Third time I'm going to pull out the red telestrator, right? This is noise. This is hype. In fact, this is actually a drop from, this is the ATZ run that came out late this afternoon. Earlier this afternoon, it was going 4 to 6. 4 to 6 inches with 7 in Richmond. Come on, people. When are we going to learn that this has probably got bad physics? So let's just stop high in the sky, hoping and wishing. You can have an opinion, no question about that. But to think that this model has any skill set, its skill score is very poor. If you ask me, it should not be putting out numbers on day 4, 5, and 6 when it comes to winter. It's terrible. And it misleads more people than I think it helps. That's just me. All right, so what about temperatures? Well, we're running close to where we were this time last night. Some +2, some -2, depending on where you are. I got a question about Surrey. I believe that was Earl. I do have Newport News right now at 48. It's now approaching 8 o'clock, so these would be new updated temperatures. 49 in Norfolk. It's 47 in Virginia Beach. Now, what did I say the high would be tomorrow? Ooh, I don't like the red. Let's take that back off. Let's go back to the yellow, because that's more instructive. 45 was what I thought the high would be tomorrow, and that would come in at what time? Midnight, which means we haven't quite reached 45 yet. We're still at 49. Virginia Beach, Currituck, all 48. So we could cool a few more degrees between now and midnight, and then it's just down we go. Low temperatures by morning, about 39. Virginia Beach, 38 Suffolk, 38 Hampton, 38 Cape Charles. We could easily hit 35. It just depends on what time in the morning you're looking. Is it sunrise? Is it at 8 a.m., 9 a.m.? Because temperatures are likely to dip even after the sun comes up. So temperature trend, keeping in mind this is more likely of a daytime high. 42 for Friday, get a spike on Saturday, and then we go back down on Sunday. And again, if that low that's off the coast, if it moves just 50 to 100 miles this way, 50 to 100 miles that way, off coast or closer to the coast, it could change the whole dynamic. It could change the whole dynamic. Maybe it's more snow and less freezing rain. Maybe it's more snow and less sleet. But either way, I think we're still in for a mix. Precipitation chances I got right now at a 20% Saturday, 40% on Sunday. Time now for the Arctic air update, so you can have some insight what may very well happen in your neighborhood about 30 days from now, because the polar vortex, as you may know by now, rotates counterclockwise, but there is usually a displacement when a sudden stratospheric event occurs, and that happens to be occurring even as I speak right now. Because if I looked at yesterday's map, it looked pretty bullish. Anytime you see red, warm air rises, cold air sinks. This is representative of about 10 to about 11 miles up in the sky. So 11 miles, that's above the pay grade of these lower troposphere models. They're not going to see this. It's their blind spot. But 10 to 11 miles, and this is not a forecast, this is an analysis. This was taken from today, because I believe today, actually yesterday. This was yesterday. I can show you today. Let's put today there. There's today. Still a lot of red on this screen. And if I zoom in a little bit tighter, you can see that there's probably going to be a surge of cold air that comes down like this, possibly down into the mid-Atlantic, that by the time we get to, what time? About, I'd say the 14th of February, there's going to be a surge that we get into much of the country. So this cold air is certainly going to be moving down in the direction of Hampton Roads. So be prepared for some more cold air, but as I've said before, cold air doesn't mean snow, it just means it's usually dry. And it's usually very dry. So this displacement brings all this cold air down, and it usually has a time delay, time release of about 30 days. About 30 days that will manifest, and it's almost like clockwork. But even in the shorter term, you can take you through Dr. King Day, and what happens? The cold air really parked over the Great Lakes, and it settles across New England by about the 20th. This is the day after the holiday. Really, really cold. I've got us down to 19 degrees come Wednesday morning, the 21st. Oh my goodness. Did you say 19? Yeah, that's a Norfolk temperature. 19 is where I think we could easily be. You could be in the -9, -4 range Celsius. It's pretty cold, and it's going to stay like that, at least to start for much of next week before we see some improvement. All right, high temperature today hit 58. We were 59 yesterday, and the 68 you see on Sunday was a midnight high. So we spent most of the day in the 40s and 50s. But it is interesting to know right now, before today, let's take today out. The last update I got from the Weather Service was that this month of January, just 13 days in, if you don't count today, we're 4.5 degrees above normal. We finished December at -4.6 degrees below normal. That's how Mother Nature works, right? If you're a surfer, you know you get low tide in the morning, you get high tide in the afternoon, and it kind of all balances out, right? Well, I think it's quinky-dinky that we were 4.6 degrees below normal for the whole month of December, and we're about 2 weeks into January, and we're +4.5. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but it is kind of similar to how Mother Nature works, like the cycle. The moon has cycles. You see the tide has cycles. The temperature cycling back and forth. We had 2 record highs just a few short days ago. That's pretty remarkable all the same. I'm just checking in with you. If you got a comment, you've got a note. I got a note from Danielle. She's actually wanting to know about the snow. She says, will we get snow in Elizabeth City? It's possible, but I think you'll probably more likely get some sleet. And when I say sleet, it's those little IPs, icy pellets that go ding, 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 ding. So a little wintry mix. And when there's wintry mix, you don't need the shovel. You probably want maybe an ice scraper if you get more freezing rain, but it's enough to slipper and slide on some sidewalks if you're not careful. But we'll wait and see. We'll revisit. Good news is I'm live streaming again tomorrow, so we'll get another look at it. Every 6 hours, we're getting some new data from those particular models and others, but it will give you some more intel even tomorrow, and I'll update you through the weekend on Facebook as best I can so that you're prepared. Of course, you have the resources of our First Warning Weather team with forecaster Derek Getter, Tony Nargi, and of course, senior meteorologist Miles Henderson. So you've got a lot of sources. We love the fact that you're here. We'd love for you to download, Danielle, if you haven't already, the News 3 First Warning Weather app. If you have a No Weather Radio, we always encourage you to have multiple sources. The reason you have multiple sources is because your phone might lose charge because you forgot to plug it in. You lost power, so the phone's not charged. If you have a battery-powered No Weather Radio, the notifications keep coming in. And that's important. We want them to keep coming in so that you're ready for that in any circumstance, for sure. All right, so let's keep moving. We got the airport delays. Why would I show this to you? Because this is a military town, and we got people from all over the country. And maybe, just maybe, if there's some weather delays, they might show up. We don't see weather delays, but we have some weather. I mean, look at this streamer. I mean, there's a lot of interesting weather going on right now when you look at... where am I looking at? I'm going back to the streamer. Is this going to show up? Yeah, this is like coming all the way down in a hook. There's a definitely, and that band might only be 25 or 50 miles wide, but they might be getting 1, 2, 3 inches an hour. So talk about a difficult forecast there, because you might be over here in Indiana like, well, how much am I getting? Well, you live over here, you get nothing. Oh, well, how much am I getting? Oh, you'll get 12 inches by morning because you're in the band. That's the magic of lake effect snow. He's like, man, that sounds hard. It is hard. I know it pretty well. I worked 4 years in Rochester, New York. So I understand this is a very changeable dynamic. I don't think it'll be that hard what we get on Sunday, but in this type of situation, you never can tell or be too, you never want to let your guard down. I do know it's changing over to ugly mix in central West Virginia. Looks like it's raining around Charleston, but could be snowing around Charleston and Parkersburg, and also Puxatawny Phil territory, getting some rain and snow in that part of the country. And if we move further to Hampton Roads, the leftover drops I was talking about still hugging the Outer Banks between Hatteras and Rodanthe at this particular hour. But if you were to focus on the next 10 days, because if you look at the top here, that's today's date, 14 plus 24, that's 10 days, let me show you what you're likely to see. Tell me where this big snowstorm is going to be, because obviously once we go into Sunday, it could look like this, right? We could get this ugly mix that we've already looked at, and we'll look at it again. That would be ugly. That wouldn't be pleasant to have to drive through if you have to be out and about, but that looks more of a icy mix in Elizabeth City, to answer the question from Danielle a moment ago. I got a note from Kim Thompson-Jones. She's on here. She says, hello, good evening. I'm a little late, but I made it. Well, I'm glad you're here. Always a pleasure having our friends watching. Kim Thompson-Jones. I got Taj Brown. Let's see here. I got a note from Taj. She said, can you order your winning certificate on the Marcos app for one of the 6 winning locations? You could try it. You could try it, my friend. Let him know. Because you could always say, I'll pay when the person comes to the door, or if you're actually getting it delivered out. I'd say it's possible. I don't know why not. Hey, snow up toward the New England, snow in Chicagoland. This takes you through the 24th of Friday. So this is, again, long-range look, a lot of rain to the southeast, more snow up here, but I don't see a whole lot of activity, big scheme of things, beyond what we could get on Sunday with the mix. 49 is our current temperature at 8:07 in Norfolk, Hampton, 48 Newport News, 48 in Portsmouth. We have Surrey, 48. See, you thought I'd forget you, Earl. I didn't forget you. Right now at 8 o'clock, you're at 48. I'm giving props and kudos to our friend Earl, because Earl wanted to know earlier on what the temperature was. And there he is. So he says, I'm in Surrey. I wanted to see Surrey, Virginia. There you go. 48, my friend. And you'll still be in the mid-40s, most likely, as we approach the midnight hour. That will represent your high temperature for tomorrow. So don't think the temperatures are going up tomorrow. They're actually going down with wind chills in the 20s. It is 49 in Edenton. Beautiful Edenton and Nags Head, 49. Currituck, 49. Elizabeth City currently at 48. And boy, you don't see this every day. Well, you do kind of at times in winter, where it's 21 actual degrees in Indianapolis. I think the next slide even surprised Tony Nargi when I showed it to him. I said, they're down to like 9 for a dew point in Indianapolis. Before it was 13. Now they've got single-digit dew points. Now, what does that mean to you and me? Well, as he likes to call it, chapstick weather, right? It's time to pull out the lotion, because I'm getting kind of a little dry on the knuckles, a little ashy, a little dry in the knuckles. I need some moisture. I need some lotion to get through a dew point that's that dry. All right, that's a sign of winter. Anytime you get dew points in the teens, that's really a sign of winter. Our dew points are at 38. So it is a sign that it's going to get drier, and I think that comes in on Friday. You're going to see a big drop in our dew points once we get into Friday. Not so much Saturday. It'll come back on Saturday. But dew points are low everywhere in the Northeast, around parts of the Great Lakes. It's 15 degrees. Current temperature in Minneapolis, St. Paul. But they're in the sub-zero category in Fort Severn and Pickle Lake Airport. Is that really a place? I guess it is. It says it on the map. It looks like a Canadian airport to me, -2. So some of that cold air will be modified when it tries to make a run down here. Follow the blue. That's the cold highway, but you can really see the Arctic air in white coming down toward the Ohio Valley through the Great Lakes, and this takes you right through the 21st and 22nd of January and 23rd, where there's still a lot of cold air bottled up here in white. This is the really Arctic blast. That is the opposite of what we've been seeing in terms of the 11 miles up, because the warm air rises, right? Warm air rises, cold air sinks. So we got all this cold Arctic air that's pushing down from the higher levels of the atmosphere, and it takes usually about 30 days for it to manifest, at least the next wave of it, mind you. The next wave of it should be here about the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day. Oh, you know what that means? Below normal temperatures for Valentine's Day. That usually means to me, hug your honey, cuddle your cutie, and snuggle your sweetie, because you're going to need a nice little fireplace and a blanket and the warmest coat you own if we get that cold again, because there are signs of it now, but it'll be signs again by the time we get closer to Valentine's Day. How do you like that? A forecast for Valentine's Day. Honey, he says it's going to be cold on Valentine's Day. Yeah, this is a stream that lives on YouTube. I know they delete them after 30 days on Facebook, but you can watch it, and I will have documentation that I said that back on the 14th of January. Now, the outlook from the next 8 to 14 still shows it go low normal for the Great Lakes, and it extends back toward Maine and New England. Now, the eastern shore tomorrow, about 41 Nancock blocks them. We're going to go from early clouds to sun. I do have a little bit of chance of rain or maybe a melted snowflake in the pre-dawn hours up there in Accomack County, but really limited elsewhere. 46 for Kill Devil Hills, 46 Manio, Wanchese, and Rodanthe, about 49 Ocracoke, and 48 for Hatteras. I like to show you Storm Prediction Center maps when they apply. The severe thunderstorm risk colors in dark green and yellow and orange when they apply. But in this case, there's nothing to see here. Not through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, not through the day on Thursday, not through the day on Friday. We know once we get further into the year, that'll change in a hurry. But I want to focus up toward the northern part of the eastern shore. And sometimes my eastern shore neighbors will say, hey, you don't mention us enough. Well, I've got you all, you're in my crosshairs here. I see some rain that could change to what? Looks like some snow. Well, I'm asleep at that hour. That's 5 o'clock. Maybe I'm out the door at 5. Some of you might be out the door. It will be a cloudy start across the 757 in northeast North Carolina, but there could be a flake, maybe around Chincoteague. Maybe it gets as far south as Exmoor. This is just one model, one solution, but it does show that there's probably a mixed precipitation, and it's really, really light. So there's no accumulation worth mentioning here. But even by the time we hit 10 o'clock in the morning, the clouds have been evicted and they're moving out of the picture. But boy, is it cold. Wind chills starting off in the 20s, finishing feeling like the low 30s. And even by 11 o'clock tomorrow night, it looks like that last of the flakes are over the open water. Not an issue. Mostly sunny Friday looks great, but a high of only 42. And we've already mentioned that this storm system, which may create some spotty rain on what day is it? Saturday. This is the day of the inauguration. So Richmond could have some showers, maybe some light rain showers in Richmond or around the central part of the Commonwealth. And then all of a sudden we go into Sunday. Sunday is when all the mayhem may start, right? You see that mayhem commercial on life insurance? It looks like mayhem. You got snow, you got sleet, you got possibly freezing rain and rain. And some of you are like, well, it's not doing that in my house. It's doing something else. And it could change. It could be ever changing. And that's why I urge you not to assume that you're going to need your snow blower, if you have one like Kurt Williams, or maybe your snow shovel, which you probably can keep in the garage. But you may have more of a need for an ice scraper just to brush off the car because of some icy pellets that might be there. So again, this is all complements of what I call a southern slider. Because if it moves over the next 4 days, 50 miles this way or 50 miles this way, if it moves this way, what do you think is going to happen? If it moves to the right, if it moves to the east, it's going to be a nothing burger. That's my way of saying nothing is going to fall if it continues to move away, because it's going to take the precipitation with it. But my suspicion, since we're within 4 days, not 6, 4 days, not 6, if it moves a little bit further east, we could have a little bit more of the icy mix, which is probably not the best outcome either way. My suspicion is that you're going to be having to deal with a mix. And this is all compliments of this southern slider that comes in during the mainly afternoon hours and evening hours of Sunday, because this represents 4:30 Sunday, and that's 9 o'clock Sunday night. Still mixing in pink. That's not a pretty color. When the precipitation type keeps changing, it's not one of these situations where you need a snow shovel. Thursday morning tomorrow, we're in the mid-30s. The feels like temperature will be in the 20s. We look at tonight's lows: 35 Franklin, 37 Gloucester, 38 Cape Charles, about 42 for Corolla, 43 for Nags Head. As we look at picture there, Williamsburg, 39 Southside. Afternoon temperature with lots of sunshine, about 40 for North Carolina, or 40 plus, 43 for Elizabeth City. These are mostly midnight highs. I can't emphasize enough, most of what you're seeing here represents highs in the midnight hour, as we'll spend most of the day in the 30s. All right, here's your first warning, WTKR News 3 7-day forecast. So a daytime high of 39, clouds to sunshine. I got us warmest day here, 57. Today was 58. So really, today and Saturday are on the same playing field because they're in the 50s, but make no mistake about it, 23, 22, and then I got a 19 in here, all right? If it's 19 in Norfolk, what do you think it's going to be in Surrey, Earl? It's probably going to be in the mid-teens. What if it's 19 in Norfolk? What do you think it's going to be in Franklin? Probably the mid-teens. What do you think it's going to be in Husky? Probably the mid-teens. Come Wednesday morning, despite the fact that the sky condition is glorious. I got free vitamin D on Dr. King Day, Tuesday and Wednesday. But I don't necessarily want to pump gas when it's, 30 degrees, 19 degrees, or 22 degrees. It's just what we have to deal with. It's all about winter, my friend. Winter is still holding on. We'll continue to watch it closely. By the way, a little blue heron told me Pam shot this picture from North Landing River. That's our theme tonight from Virginia Beach. Love it. North Landing River, Virginia Beach. From Michael captured this beautiful picture too, from the water and the boat here in front. And then this beautiful Oscar photograph of North Landing River for Virginia Beach. Another reason why we love the beauty of Hampton Roads and the Outer Banks and the Eastern Shore. There's just so much to see here, and the sunsets and sunrises are amazing. Now, I mentioned some leftover drops tonight. Looks like they're still hanging on in parts of Dare County, and that's probably going to linger for maybe another half hour or so. So be patient there, but we'll be watching what could form in terms of drops or flakes up here by the time we hit about 2 to 7 in the morning. I just don't expect much. So there's your first warning. WTKR 7-day forecast once again, 42 on Friday, 57 on Saturday with some spotty rain. Did I mention we've got a deal of the week? Oh, it's the best one, I think. Some people just love the fact they can save some money. And in this economy, food is pretty expensive. So if you can get half off your pizza simply by typing in a promo code, you don't have to clip a coupon. You don't have to clip a coupon, and it's not going to expire until likely Saturday, right? This is the deal of the week. So if you are a pizza person on a Friday night, a Thursday night, you've got more opportunities to use it. WTKR 50, and again, these 6 locations, Marco's Pizza, thinking outside of the pizza box, super generous, and a great sponsor. In the 757, they've got 3 Virginia Beach locations, 2 in Chesapeake, 1 in Norfolk. And I want to encourage you, if you have not signed up yet, you only have to do it once. Takes about a minute to 2 minutes to sign up so that we can draw your name from the list. And when I say list, we're going to give away 10 individual pizzas. These little pizzas, we're going to give 10 pizzas tomorrow, to single pizzas. And then we're going to give away 1 pizza for a year certificate to a winner. So that's a total of 22 pizzas in certificate form to be announced tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, someone's going to get 12 by this certificate, and then we'll give 10 additional pies out. So that's 22, and I would love for you to win, and you can cheer on those first winning live viewers who do happen to win. Happy to have them on board. If you haven't tried the Pozzola, you can get that off, half off tonight. I love the pepperoni and sausage. There are several varieties here. Buffalo chicken is popular too. At marcos.com, the Magnifico, you get that half off. And you don't have to get a large, you get a small, you get a medium, you get a large, whatever, but you're getting half off whatever you purchase. And WTKR.com, Marcos, to satisfy your appetite. I mentioned all of the hot deals. If you go to Marcos, check them all the things that they have, and order what you want. And you can use the promo code more than once. It's not going to limit you there all things told. So anyway, just want to thank you for your time tonight. Again, I'm on a soapbox because every winter there's always this hype, sound the trumpet, we're going to get this 7 days out, we're going to get this 6 days out, 5 days out, 4 days out. You know what? You don't know until you know, and confidence doesn't typically grow in the world of meteorology until you're at 2 or 3 days out. So stay with us. We'll have more updates tomorrow, and if there are indications that it's just snow, you'll be the first to know from me. But right now, it looks like a mix, looks messy, and probably on the scale of minor. This is not a crippling event. This is more of a nuisance event on a weekend known as Sunday up ahead. Anyway, my name is David Aldrich. Make sure, just remember, it doesn't matter if the weather is sunny or serious. Every day is a gift. Make the most of it in your neighborhood. We'll see you tomorrow with some pizza winners. Take care.